Hello everyone, this is Gene from NYC and I'm finally back with a video. So first, I would like to welcome everyone back, and I hope that if you've been checking out my videos that you've enjoyed the ones that I've made thus far. I also wanted to apologize for my about a week-long absence. I've been dealing with a lot of real life issues. I don't want to go too deep into it, but basically for those who don't know, for those who are newer to the channel, in my real life, right, in the regular world, I am the principal caretaker to a member of my family who is very, very ill and is pretty much physically disabled. And their illness has been flaring up, and their physical disability has been becoming a very present and prevalent issue on top of everything else that I have to worry about in real life. So there was a hospital stay on their part, but I spent a lot of time at the hospital with them, and so it's just been a lot of stuff going on in my real life, and I've just been very tired. And if I haven't been dealing with that, then I've just been sleeping, resting. So I just wanted to explain my absence. I try to make videos every few days, but the past few weeks, real life has happened, so videos might be a bit sporadic at this point. Just to explain why I haven't been making as much content as I was previously. So there's that. So I'd like to welcome everybody back to the channel. Whether this is your first video that you're watching or your 100th, I thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time and hearing me out. So let me go on to the topic of this video, which is going to be my general thoughts about the MCU Phase 4 and just in general Disney. And by Disney, what I mean is the Disney company, Marvel, even ABC, because Disney owns ABC. So I'm going to be sort of rambling about this move that Disney and all of the companies or brands that fall under the Disney umbrella, this move they have made toward being agenda driven and saying that, it's we're promoting female superheroes, we're promoting female stories. No, they're not. They're not. I can tell you as a woman who has been a lifelong geek, as a woman who has been a lifelong fan of action media in its various forms, what they're pushing, whether it be Thor, Love and Thunder, I think it's called. Whenever I hear Thor, I just hear the song God of Thunder in my head, and I just want to start singing it. But anyway, whether it's Thor, Love and Thunder, or other TV shows, I remember hearing recently that Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren had pitched a show, or wanted to pitch a show, I should say, had wanted to pitch a show to ABC. And ABC didn't even give them, again, Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren, right? Legends in the movie industry in general, but especially in the action movie genre, that they did not want to give them even the time of day. From what I was reading and hearing, that whoever they spoke to at Disney didn't even listen to the pitch because they're focused on female-led properties. Keep in mind, they don't even know, since they didn't hear the pitch, they don't even know if the story was going to have a lead female, right? So, as many other commentators, such as Young Rippa59 has been saying, they're being very open now about being agenda-driven. Whereas in previous years, they had been a bit more, I would say, duplicitous about it, right? They would say things like, oh, we're going to respect the story, we're going to respect the source material, and then not do that at all. Now, they're just flat out being honest, right? They are completely, showing you what's up their sleeve, what's in their mind, what's on their hearts. And what they're doing is that this is toxic, feminist, SJW, regressive, progressive, outrage crowd, whatever term you want to use. This is, to me, this is toxic ideology. And they're trying to hide it behind this thin veneer of, oh, we're promoting women. No, they're not. They're not promoting women. And people know this. Women know this. Men know this. And that is why this is going to fail. Because now even people who might be called normies, right, are starting to wise up to what's been happening. People in comics and other mediums have been saying this for years and not been listened to. But now that this is going to impact and affect the more mainstream and the more casual fans, then they will start to see it, which is why Disney's films, right, all these MCU films and TV shows that they want to do, I think are going to miss. They are going to miss the mark more than they hit the mark. Whereas with the first wave, I would say, or first few waves of MCU material, movies, TV shows, Netflix, all that stuff, they were more hit than miss, right? Daredevil was praised, Jessica Jones was praised. The movies, for the most part, I mean, there's movie quality goes up and down, but I can't think of anyone who has said that there is just one movie that is pure trash. I mean, even the Captain Marvel film averaged a C. I mean, a C, as much as I dislike the Captain Marvel film and I dislike what's happened to the character of Carol Danvers in the comics is much better than, say, what happened with Dark Phoenix, which failed. I'll never understand how they keep getting the Dark Phoenix saga wrong when the X-Men cartoon got it right so many years ago. A small cartoon, especially when compared to the billions of dollars spent to make these films, a small cartoon from the early 1990s got the Dark Phoenix saga better. Did it better than these movie makers who spend billions and billions and billions of dollars on special effects and costumes and all this other stuff. I'll never get it. I think it's because, sadly, a lot of these mediums, because now they're following this ideology, that they've lost their ability to know how to tell a story. They don't know how to tell a story that is, rich with emotion and drama and love and loss and all this other stuff, like the Phoenix Saga is filled with all those things. But anyhow, so there's that. So I was watching a Crimson Sin video, and they were talking about how ABC is going to have this female-led superhero show, which I personally have no interest in. Okay, if you don't have cute boys, I have no reason to watch. I'm not even going to front. I'm not going to front. If you don't have at least one handsome man in your show, I'm not watching it. But anyway, my shallowness aside, right, I think that this show is going to fail. And I think it's going to fail because, again, as I've said earlier, there's not going to be any storytelling here, and they're not going to appeal to an actual female audience. We've seen that with other movies and TV shows, and especially in the comics, right? If you follow comics closely, you are well aware of the fact that comic writers and creative teams and companies have been saying for years now that, they want to promote female heroes and they want to bring in a female audience, which on its face sounds perfectly fine. And on its face, I completely agree. You should always be trying to bring in more people, especially younger people, because that's what keeps it going. Young people read comics, they grow up with it, they get older, they have families of their own, they share what they grew up with with their kids, and then their kids, pick up on what is new and what is fresh, and the cycle continues. And this is how you get longevity and generational appeal. There are people who have literally been raised on Star Wars because like their parents watched Star Wars, then they watched Star Wars, and now they have their kids watching Star Wars. This is how a lot of long-running franchises and properties work. The thing is, sadly in comics, and in other mediums, but especially in comics, they have gone away from this model to now just writing trash, to be honest with you, that does not appeal to men and that doesn't appeal to women. They keep bringing back series like, say, The Unstoppable Wasp, that keeps getting canceled. This thing's been canceled twice now. And they don't seem to understand why their series for girls isn't appealing to girls. Rule number 1, you want to appeal to girls? Have cute boys. Call it shallow, I call it human nature. Women who are attracted to men like cute men. We like handsome guys. It doesn't necessarily have to be a story about love and all this other stuff. It doesn't have to be that, but you need attractive people. Rule number 1, have attractive people in your work. Have beautiful women that girls can be either attracted to or envious of or could, sort of want to be. And then have boys that, again, girls can fall in love with. So there's your first thing. If you look at this female media, and I think this is going to be one of the largest things that sinks this boat. If you look at this supposed female media that's being made with this agenda, what you'll notice is that, at least what I should say, that this is what I notice, especially being a comic reader. I really should review more of the comics that I read. I started this channel out as a review channel, and I've sort of gone away from that. And for those who follow me for the comics, I do apologize for that. I will be getting back to that in time. But anyway, what these series lack, and that women, especially as we get older, really appreciate, is, how do I put it? I'll just be honest. Sex. At the risk of sounding like an old perverted woman, sex. There's no sex appeal. There's nothing beautiful or pretty or alluring or appealing to look at. What's the point of watching the show if there is no chemistry between the actors and they're both like normal looking? What's the point? What's the point? I have no interest. Let's be honest. You need some sort of sex appeal. You need some sort of romantic tension, sexual tension, romantic drama, whatever you want to call it, going on. Does it have to center around that? No, of course not. It's not wrong if it does. Like, this is why you have, soap operas and whatnot, which has a large female fan base. But the work doesn't have to center around that thing, but the work should feature it. Because again, sex appeal, love, romance, relationships, it's part of human nature. It's part of the human condition. And when you de-sex a work, and I don't mean keep it tame, right? If you're keeping it tame and keeping it more romantic tension than sexual tension because, say, your show is targeted toward 5-year-olds, that makes sense. That's perfectly fine. But even in those type of situations, right, there's hints of it there. I mean, again, look at Disney's, Renaissance films of the 90s, right? Those were made for little kids. Well, they were really made for families, but they were marketed toward young children, in particular young girls, and you'll find a good dose, depending on which film you're watching, of sex appeal there. Whether it's characters like Jasmine, who's very sexy, or Esmeralda, who's actually her sex appeal in the whole whore Madonna complex is a big issue and a big thing with her character in Hunchback. Or you look at Pocahontas, or you look at other films in the Disney Renaissance canon that's there. You look at the famed, True Love's Kiss that ends almost every Disney film. It's not a simple peck on the lips, right? It's this deep, passionate kiss. So even in those mediums, right, which are supposed to be more for children, right, or more for families, there is a good dose of sexuality. So it's not wrong to feature it. It's just, you just have to be careful about how much you display in a work. But you need that. You need that draw. You need a little bit, at least a tiny bit of sex appeal. Especially if you want to capture a female audience, right? And look, you can call me shallow. Maybe I'm being shallow. But take a look at any female media or anything that tends to appeal to women more than men. You will find handsome men and lots of sex. Perfect example, erotic novels. Granted, those are for adult women, but still, my point stands. So, anyhow, there is that. This, sanitized, not even sanitized, because that's a very toxic ideology, but this sexless TV show, which I believe it's going to be, I believe it's going to be fairly sexless, is not going to work. It's not going to appeal to a male or female audience. It certainly isn't going to appeal to a teenage audience, because teenagers want to see sex. And then there's the fact that, of course, with the progressives, they always try to make it seem like they are the first to do anything. I would like to remind everybody that I grew up in the 1990s. That's my childhood. So I grew up with TV shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Charmed and Xena, Warrior Princess. All female-led TV shows. Heck, the 3 lead characters in Charmed are 3 sisters. And it has a lot of relationship drama. That's exactly why I hated the show. I felt that it focused way too much on relationship drama. And then, of course, you have lesser, and by lesser, I mean just not as well known and didn't get quite the same amount of press, but you had other shows like VIP that starred Pamela Anderson. You had Relic Hunter, which starred Tia Carrere. You had Cleopatra 2525, and shows of that nature. So we've had plenty of female-led TV shows. Heck, you can go back to the 70s and you can find shows like Policewoman, or of course the original Charlie's Angels, right? You have Laverne and Shirley. So since what? I would say at least the 70s. There was this strong influx and constant flow of, strong women. Strong women who maybe did not need men in their lives, who were independent and could make it on their own, but who certainly did not mind having men in their lives. And now we have gone from that, from showing that a woman did not have to depend on a man to be self-actualized and take care of herself, and that she could, desire a man on her own terms. We've gone from that to now having, of course, as it's often parodied, strong female character who don't need no man. Well, guess what? A strong female character who doesn't need a man, who doesn't have any sort of love interest in her life as a character, is not going to appeal to a majority female audience, especially when things that women tend to like to see are relationship drama. This is what women tend to like, is a lot of shows or media with relationship tension and relationship drama. I couldn't tell you why. I tend to not like that too much. I mean, a little bit of it is okay, but I'm not a big fan of shows that focus on it. But I'm not every woman. And quite obviously, that type of approach appeals to women more than it doesn't, right? That's why, again, soap operas have a predominantly female audience, and romance novels have a predominantly female audience, because that is what the majority of their readers who are female like. So what I would say is, if you want to read something or see something that women would actually read or watch, either watch a cheesy action show from the 1990s or Read a romance novel and fall in love. I don't know. But, yeah, in closing, this is going to backfire in Marvel's face. And I believe, honestly, well, I should say greater in Disney's face. This is going to backfire in Disney's face. And they deserve it. When you treat the IPs with no respect, when you show no respect for the fans and for the characters, and when your directors are coming out saying that they'll mess with the mythos if they want to, when you have a director coming out saying that she's going to take the Black Widow film and take all the action elements that make the character appealing out of it, and that she's going to flat out disregard comic canon, because she finds it discriminatory, this is what you get. And the backlash that they're getting, and what I feel will be more likely than not the commercial failure that these endeavors will turn into, is exactly what Disney deserves. Do fans deserve this? Of course not. No, the fans didn't do anything wrong. Fans don't deserve this one bit. But Disney does. Disney deserves this. ABC deserves this. Marvel deserves this, because they have no respect for their fans or for the source material, or hell, for the I would say just for the art, the art and the creative medium of storytelling. And again, you are not going to hook a female audience with what they're showing, with what they're providing. Hell, you've already turned off women who, if only because of the fact that it got out that they didn't want to hear the pitch by Lundgren and Stallone. You think women don't like Rocky? You think women don't like Drago? This would be like having, like, you know, Jean-Claude Van Damme come with a pitch, right? Guess what? When you turn him away, you turn away all of his fans. And Van Damme had a lot of female fans because he was very handsome in his youth. So, if you're looking to attract a female audience, this is not what you do. You don't turn away the men that they would like. You don't produce agenda-driven material that is not going to appeal to them in the least. You don't make these lifeless, desexed characters and TV shows. I mean, you can even look at non-action properties like Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, from way back in the day. That was basically a period piece romance novel come to life. And women ate it up. You want to attract a female audience? That's what you do. You want to repel a female audience? This is what you do. You do what Disney's doing right now. You go against the tried and true method. You go against all good sense, basically. And you produce drivel to massage your own ego. And you're gonna end. They're gonna end up blowing up in their face, and they deserve it. Hopefully, in time, they will realize that the customer is always right. So, that's my little ramble. Those are my thoughts. It's already gone on way too long, so let me know what you think in the comments, and I will hopefully see you soon in the next video. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.